So I have been single for about a year now, and I'm 29. I've never talked about dating on here, so I'm like getting red. To start off with something embarrassing, I have never been the one to leave. I've only ever been left in every relationship I've ever had. One could say I've been fumbled many times, but I also think we really downplay things when we say fumble. Every time I've been fumbled per se, I experience this like deep soul level pain because someone is willing to walk away and decided that you are not worth staying for. And then we literally use men's terminology to describe that heartbreak, fumble, a sports metaphor, because it's so common and it happens so much. There was definitely a time where I was so hard on myself and I was like, wow, there must be something wrong with me. And everybody knows it except for me, and they're just not telling me. And that's why they all leave me. And
you know what, guys? She might actually be onto something. Okay, so here we have a 29-year-old woman on TikTok, and she says, you know, men keep fumbling me. Men just keep leaving me. I can't seem to lock one down for a long-term committed relationship. Now, let me just address this right off the bat, guys. There is something wrong with this woman. Whether it be because she's selecting the wrong men, that's usually the case, or because she's clinically insane. The fact of the matter is that dating is not difficult for modern women. They make it difficult for themselves, and then they cry and complain and say that they are the victim. But what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again. And on today's episode, boy, do I have some nonsense for you here today. We will return to that woman who's 29 years of age and claiming she got fumbled.
I just went on a date.
But first, excuse me, let's jump into this clip here. Excuse the bit of a, you know, the horrifying switch up there. We're going to cover this woman first, and then we'll return to the previous one. So we're going to be talking about women dating. Okay, this woman here is going to give us a brief story on her date that she went on recently, and it is horrible. Now, I don't know whether this woman is 20 years of age or 50 years of age, but we are going to find out. Let's jump into it. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments.
I just went on a date for the first time in 6 months with a guy that I matched with less than 12 hours ago, and I get to the cafe and he is holding these.
Now, what have I said, guys, okay, about getting women flowers on the first date? They will say that they want this crap, right? They will say, oh, I want a romantic man. I want a chivalrous man. I need a man to get me flowers and treat me like the princess I am. And I always say this is a stupid idea because the women will treat you like a freak, okay? So let's see how this situation played out. She went on a date with this guy. He got her flowers. Let's continue.
I went on nearly 50 dates last year, and not one time did I ever receive flowers. He handed them to me.
Okay, so first of all, going on 50 dates in a year is insane. This is what, guys, this is what modern women do, okay? I've said this before. You can give them thousands of options, but they will still be single. Why? Because they think that they deserve the best. Do you see? If you were to give a man 50 dates with 50 random women, randomly selected, you know, in a metropolitan area, a random sampling of the public, a lot of guys could see themselves having a relationship with one, right? At the very least one. It wouldn't be that damn difficult. Why? Because men have, to a large degree, realistic standards. Now, they might not be realistic for modern women because a lot of them are insane, but, you know, in general terms, realistic standards. Women, you can give them 50 dates, you can give them hundreds of men, thousands of matches, and they will still be single. Okay, so let's bear this in mind, guys. This woman went on 50 plus dates last year. Great stuff. And just by the way, do you ever think that maybe there's a reason why men aren't giving you the flowers if you went on so many dates? But let's continue.
Me, and I just had this look of shock on my face because I'm like, what the fuck? Now that I'm dating again and the Love Chronicles is making a return, this is the standard I'm expecting. I don't actually know if I'm going to see him again. The ending was a bit like unclear.
Wow. So check this out, guys, right? Now that this man has got her flowers, this is now the standard. Okay, so you watching this, you need to bring your A game to your date with this woman. You need to get her flowers, all right? This is the bare minimum, guys. Now, what will she do for you? I don't know, probably give you some sort of a disease, but, you know, never mind that. You need to bring the flowers. And how funny is this? She's not going to see the guy again, supposedly. But I'm sorry, I thought this was fantastic. You want all men to do this, right? This is what she's encouraging you to do. And yet the man who did this for her, she's not going to see him again. Let's play that back one more time. Ready?
Expecting. I don't actually know if I'm going to see him again. The ending was a bit like unclear.
I don't know if I'm going to see him again. Guys, what a surprise, right? The man who does the flowers, who does the chivalrous things. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to see him again.
But he does know about my TikTok. So, babe, if you are watching this, had a great time seeing you. Would love to see you again. If not, that's all good. Thank you so much for the flowers. I am still in shock.
This is like a humiliation ritual, right? So imagine you're the guy that goes on the date with this woman, and then she posts about it afterwards, says how many dates she's been on previously, which is, by the way, just disgusting. 50 last year. Let's think about that. 50 last year. So she makes this video, and she says she demands that subsequent men after you give her more flowers. She says that she's probably not going to date you again, and she thanks you for the gift. Would love to see. Notice the patronizing, like how patronizing this is at the end, guys. I'm telling you, right? This stuff is humiliating for men. Now, I'll say this. I don't have anything against flowers. I don't have anything against traditional behaviors. What I do have is, I don't want to be doing this crap for a woman who's not traditional. Why are men expected to be the traditional ones to do all of this crap? And this woman went on 50 dates last year alone. I'm not buying you flowers, madam. do you know what I mean? But now, right, this is the standard for this woman, apparently, in her own words. Now, of course, she will still go and see and hook up with men who don't do this because that's just what she does. But nevertheless, guys, her standards have now increased. Now, let's continue to the first woman that I had here today. Let me see if I can find the damn clip. Goodness me, it's just horrible all around, isn't it? All right, let's pull up the clip here. This is the woman that I had in the intro. This is the 29-year-old woman. This is not me putting this text above her head, by the way. She says that she's the one being quote-unquote fumbled. All right, so let's jump into it. Let's break it down. Again, guys, make sure to leave your thoughts and your comments, okay?
So I have been single for about a year now, and I'm 29. I've never talked about dating on here, so I'm like getting red. To start off with something embarrassing, I have never been the one to leave. I've only ever been left in every relationship I've ever had.
Okay, so let's pause it here, right? You know what's funny about this? So this woman is saying that she's always the one to leave. Now, what's interesting, guys, is we actually have, for example, marriage statistics. And I want to reference them here because I think it's important to note that in marriages, for example, number one, divorce rates are incredibly high, especially among, if you're in a relationship with a quote unquote educated woman, but that's a whole nother thing. Women are typically the ones who leave the men. Okay. If you're an average guy and you get into a relationship with a woman or you start seeing a woman, chances are she's going to be the one to ditch your ass. Okay. In the instances where women are the ones getting ditched, usually it's because they're dating chads who have a whole bunch of options. You see what I'm saying? And oftentimes they don't even have a relationship with this man. In a lot of these cases, guys, women will insist that they're dating and, men just keep breaking it off with them. But usually they don't even have a relationship to begin with these men. You see what I'm saying?
One could say I've been fumbled many times, but I also think we really downplay things when we say fumble. Every time I've been fumbled per se, I experience this like deep soul level pain because someone is willing to walk away and decided that you are not worth staying for. And then we literally use men's terminology to describe that heartbreak, fumble, a sports metaphor, because
you gotta love how she how is this relevant, by the way? Right? Oh, we use a man's term to say that the man left, right? Like this is, we're starting to get the inklings of a woman being a womanist, right? We can start to see the cracks already. Okay, having an issue, or why even bring up the fact that fumbled is a sports term technically? You know what I mean, guys? Like you're starting to see, You're starting to see.
To describe that heartbreak, fumble, a sports metaphor, because it's so common and it happens so much. There was definitely a time where I was so hard on myself and I was like, wow, there must be something wrong with me. And everybody knows it except for me and they're just not telling me. And that's why they all leave me. And then I was like, wait, I rock. And
oh no. So she almost developed self-awareness there. Okay. And women always do that. They're like, I thought the problem was me, but then I realized I'm the best thing ever. You know what I mean? Like they always say this crap because they've got women in their comments who are lying to them. So usually what the problem is, guys, is these women are just selecting the very top percentage of men who have a lot of options, who have no reason to settle down and commit to them. And then that's why they get left. Okay, because, you know, these guys who have a whole bunch of options, they might get into these, you know, a relationship with these women here or there. But, you know, these guys typically have a lot of options. And if the woman starts acting crazy, he starts, for lack of better words, disturbing his peace, making his life a living hell, nagging him, and so on. A lot of these guys will actually just not tolerate this crap and they will leave you. You see what I'm saying? Like the women will think, okay, well, I can start to be crazy now, right? I've been with this guy for a little bit. I can lower the mask. I can annoy the hell out of him. I can take what he does for me for granted and so on. And then the man who has options, he just goes, screw this. Why am I looking after this woman? Why am I paying this woman's bills? Why am I protecting her? Why am I with her? And so on. And these women just inevitably end up getting ditched. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of them, despite how they might present themselves on TikTok, if they do it well, a lot of them have significant behavioral problems. They develop attitudes. They become entitled. They become ungrateful. And then the dudes end up leaving them. That's if they get a relationship out of one of these, these higher quality, quote unquote, men.
I genuinely believe that I rock. And because of it, I think that's why I'm so hesitant about getting back into the dating world, because I don't want to go mentally back to the place where I didn't think that I rock. I'm like a big lover girl. It makes me emotional because I know every single woman that's watching this right now that has also been fumbled is just a lover girl. And
These women are not lover girls, man. They're not. That's such a. If you knew how the average modern woman dates, you would not be calling her a lover girl. The majority of these women cannot pair bond to save their lives, guys. They think that because they have immense, strong feelings for a Chad, that this makes them a romantic person, right? This makes them a lover girl. No, it doesn't. It makes you addicted to dopamine. It makes you addicted to excitement. It means that you can't have a level-headed, normal relationship without the ups and downs, without the turmoil, without incredibly high levels of attraction to the man's physique, and so on. Do you guys see what I'm saying? These women, the average modern-day woman, okay, if you were to pull her, again, out of like a metropolitan city, for example, you know, one of these heavily indoctrinated places where all these quote-unquote educated women are, for example, these women are not lover girls. They're not romantic. You know, they might like receiving flowers for the ego, like the other woman that we just played before, but they're not romantic. They're not lover girls. You know, what a strange word to use there.
I didn't think that I rock. I'm like a big lover girl. It makes me emotional because I know every single woman that's watching this right now that has also been fumbled is just a lover girl. And unfortunately, we are most likely not dealing with other lover girls. But hopefully you don't relate. And if you do, remember that you rock.
So just by the way, a lot of women who watch this video, they will relate to what this woman is saying. And the reason for that is because they all date a similar way. Okay, and that way is dating a small subset of men who have a large degree of options when it comes to dating women, and who oftentimes are not interested in settling down or committing to these women, especially if they start to demonstrate some form of crazy. Now, I'm not accusing this woman of being crazy, all right? But I'm just saying. Guys, we're going to be leaving it there. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.